Alright, so this is the 1994 Mazda Miata MX-5. Features the 1.8 liter four-cylinder. It is a ES built car for autocross. I have autocrossed it a couple times now. Unfortunately not in its current configuration. It now features Koni shock absorbers. It features a beefier front sway bar of some brand that I don't know. And because I want to use it, it features some problems. So let's jump right into it. Let's look at problem number one, and that is going to be the main thing, because it is the only thing preventing me from using the car, because it is the only thing preventing the car from being drivable. And that is that the rear, wow, that is a light hood. The rear heater core hose has failed. I don't do Mazdas. And that rear heater core hose is approximately there. This should be fun. So let's get as much out of the way as possible, including any simple wires. Wow, that is deep down in there. And, you know, it's amazing how many different style connectors there are out there. Completely different than Nissan. Okay, and now it looks like, I don't know what you guys can see. It looks like this ends right about here. In this spot that you cannot see. How the heck do you get to that? Okay, you can just see the clip, I think. Oh, this is going to be fun. Alright, well, let's get started making a mess. Hopefully there's not a lot of coolant in here because it's been leaking, and hopefully that is going to throw me off. I'm not used to that being so deep. Hopefully there's not a whole lot left up in here. So how do you come off of there? That should be far enough back. But that hose has been on there for this car's entire lifespan, which is what, 21 years? I don't know if the heater core outlet underneath of this is plastic or metal. That's why I'm being kind of gingerly with this. I do not want to break the heater core outlet. That would be very bad news. I may actually just cut that whole hose. Okay, well, the good news is they are metal, so I don't have to be too worried about them. And the other good news is it doesn't appear that there's much coolant left up in there. Now to try to get that other spring clamp. Certainly not from the top. I'm not taking off. This is the crank angle sensor here, I assume, and all the coil packs over there. I'd rather leave them on. And you're the one in the back that's ruptured. It is, yeah, the bottom of it is just completely gone. Like this part is hard rubber. This part, squishy, squishy. There's your failure point. Right there. That one little hole caused all this. Okay, well, good news, bad news, good news, bad news. Got the hose off, got to order the part. Still have more stuff to do. Shifter. It still works, but I'm not sure where the gears are anymore. So I'm in first. My assumption is the bushing that is on the bottom of the shifter where it inputs into the transmission is no longer there, because you should be able to shift all 5 gears while you're in one gear. So I'm doing this completely blind. I have no idea. Basically, the official way to do this. I have no idea what's going to present to me when I take this center console off, but I figure this is a good place to start. And looks like I'm getting paid for this job after all. Mechanic keeps the change. Alright, there's 4 screws out. Let's see if that was enough. Nope. Lucky number 5. Now we're cooking. Shifter come off? Nope. I don't know. I'm not too terribly worried about ripping this boot because, yeah, it's already happened. Looks like it does not come off in that way. Throw your screwdriver at it. That always works. Okay, that's basically out of the way now. We'll just leave that there. What do we have under here? A shift boot that is no more. That's probably here nor there. That explains the constant smell that this car has of gear oil. And yeah, it's done a pretty decent job of leaking on there. But yeah, priority is figuring out why the loosey-goosey. Looks like a 10 mil. It is a 10 mil. It's a Japanese car. It's always a 10 mil. And a 3. Let's see what happens. Let's get into neutral. Oh, just pull straight up. It's full of gear oil. And there is no socket on there. Interesting. You see, this is the ball that I was talking about. And like I said, there's supposed to be a plastic piece on the ball. Is the plastic piece somewhere in the goo down there? Is it gone? Most likely. You see, this is a little different than the Nissans I'm used to dealing with because they don't have grease all the way to the top like this. They only have it below the shifter, basically. The shifter itself is dry. So now I've got to figure out some way to evacuate this area of grease so that I can see if that plastic thing is down in there. That should be fun. Alright, well, one trip to the parts store later, and we have ourselves a $19 heater core hose. However, it's important, I think, in these cases to use something like this that is molded, because if you try and do this with just a piece of heater core hose that is, the correct diameter and not bent, usually it just ends up kinking and that'll either restrict your flow or it's going to cause it to crack later on. So, despite the fact that it was crazily expensive, well, I mean, relative to me anyway, I think it's worth the money to get the molded one. But now to try and get it onto that bottom hose that I realize now, because I've already edited what you've seen to this point because it's a couple of days later. Now to try and get this on there, and I'm sorry that you probably can't see, I think that's the point I was trying to make. Probably can't see too much of what I'm doing. But I'm going to use these snap clamps that I usually would not put back on. Usually I would use a new clamp, but in this case, I don't see any other way to tighten it. There's no other fastener that I could get in there that has something that doesn't require like a turning action. So back on with the snap clamps it is, and hopefully we can do this. Does anybody else get really bothered when they do this? They put the little thing through the hose. It's like, alright, thanks. I just paid $19 for this hose. Thank you for already putting a hole in it. I know it doesn't do anything and it's not going to be a problem, but it hurts me mentally. But let's go ahead and take that off of there, and I'm going to, I think, go ahead and put this one on there. And then what I need to do, actually let me get that sticker off there. Okay, well I got enough of the sticker off there to make me feel good about it. There is I noticed I kept doing that. I kept putting the light right where you guys would be able to see anything. So hopefully, right now you can see there is the outlet, and it goes to right here. So what I'm gonna try and do is, let's see, it goes this way. So I actually put it on there pretty much the right way. I'm gonna try and clamp it. Okay, for the first attempt, I'm gonna put it just on there in the right orientation so that I can just slide it on. Of course, because it's a new hose, it's gonna be pretty tight. Okay, well, I've gotten the hose on there pretty far. Yeah, it feels like it's at about the right spot. So now to try and get that little snap clamp back over the metal. Shouldn't be too bad. And jinx. I put my hat on underneath my GoPro because my hair has gotten too long and the GoPro keeps sliding off and I'm having the same problem still. I wonder if there's any better head mounts than this. This one's a little bit of a nuisance. There we go. It's not quite as far as I'd like, but we're making good progress. It's not as bad as I thought it would be. All right, let's see. No, it's not on there enough just yet. All right, well, I think I have now got it. This was the right position for the job. Yeah, I'm happy with where that is. It's past where the larger part, where that part is on the outlet, so I think that's good. Sometimes you just gotta find the right position for the job. Okay, well, the hard part's done, so now let's just get this guy back on, and this part of the job will be done. And let's use the vice grips. Alright, we got it. As long as it's past the hard part, and the hard part ends here, maybe a little bit more. Last thing I want is it leaking just because the hose isn't on there far enough. There we go. Now I'm happy. Mission accomplished. Hopefully. Put some water in her, and we'll just have to see on a test drive. Don't forget to get your tools out of here. So here we are, multiple days later, and I have received this. Now, in the end, this car actually needs the whole shifter rebuild kit, which includes the gasket for here. I believe it includes a new plastic piece for this. However, since I am paying for this out of pocket, I am going to try and replace just the part that it needs. I had previously mentioned that I thought I might need to drain the transmission. I no longer feel as though that is the case because I was able to use a screwdriver to feel that there is indeed no piece of plastic in there. So let's see how hard this is to slip onto the end of that. Gone forever. Not really. Okay, let's get out of the car. And you can see the size difference there. It's a large piece, so there was a lot of gap around this. So hopefully that was indeed what our problem was. Let's see. There's a slot in it, and the one should be up. Oh, before I even have a chance to bolt it down, I could tell it's better. All right, well, let's do that. Let's get it bolted down. Let's put this back around give it a little bit of insulation. Last screw. There we go. All right. Closes like so. Yep, everything still seems good, just like it was. A little bit of insulation poking out. You can scoot that back in there. Good as new. All right, time for the big test. Into gear. Oh, so much better. I mean, it's an old car. It's 20 years old, and you know, there's play because the linkages are probably loose, and it's a stock shifter. But oh, that is so much better. No more echolocating the gears. You can actually feel them in the transmission. And I went and did a test drive the other day. No leaks on the hose up there. So I think we're all set for autocross. That will be coming up this Saturday. So look forward to video from that probably Sunday. And that's going to do it for this time on Cohen's Garage. Next time on Cohen's Garage, hopefully we'll be working on that guy over there. See you then.